How old are you? Asked Jagan. Do you want to know? Then guess, replied the other, right? Such speculation always embarrassed Jagan. He could never be sure whether people asking that question liked to look younger or older than their years. In either case, he felt he could not be drawn into a debate and so said, I can't say, observing the man's head, which was bald. No place for his dye there, he thought. So the idea is like Jagan asked a weird question again, right? Like, how old are you? The bearded man replied, like, do you want to know? Then guess, right? When a person says, like, when guess, such ideas, such words, right? Embarrass Jagan means such answering such witty replies, right? Made Jagan embarrass means shy. He could never be sure whether people asking that question like to look younger or older than their years. I mean, like, when some people, there's a saying, right? I mean, like, uh, they're saying even in Sinhala, right? ගෑනු අයගෙන් වයස අහන්න එපා පිරිමි අයගෙන් කවදාකවත් පඩිය කීයද කියලා අහන්න එපා කියලා. Don't ask the salary, right? From the men and don't ask like how old are you from women, right? I mean like why? Women folk doesn't like to give the exact birthday, right? Because it reveals their real age, right? Because they tend to hide their age with all this makeup and creams and everything, right? This vanity kits and everything, right? Okay, leave that aside. So in same way, like Jagan had a question when you ask this from person like how old are you, if the reply is do you want to know, then guess means he was thinking, is this person really telling this to me, giving me this answer because he doesn't like to reveal the years? Oh, right. He felt he could not draw like asking that question like to look younger or older than their years. I mean like, does he want to look older than the years or does he want to look younger than the years? Right? Jagan had these both questions, right, in him. In either case, in any way, he felt he could not be drawn into a debate. I mean, like in either way, like maybe they want to look younger than the years. They are not saying their birthday because of age, because they want to look younger, right? When you say, like, for example, you are 45, I mean, like, if you say you don't say, right? A 45-year looking person may look like 25-year person, right? That may be the impression, or maybe perhaps they want to show that they are elder than that, right? By not opting to express or reveal their or age or birthday, right? So anyway, these both ends could not uh, pacified, right? These both questions cannot be answered, and at the same time, he felt he could not drawn into debate. I mean, like you can't argue about these things, right? And so he said, "I can't say," said Jagan, right? How can I say, right? Your age, right? Said Jagan, observing the man's head, and he looked to the man's head, the bearded man's head, which was bald. I mean, like there was no hair in his head, right? And no place for hair dye there, he thought, right? There's nothing to dye in that man's head, right? Only the beard is there. There's no hair in his head just to use his own dye, right? Uh, or coloring, right? So that's how Jagan felt. I am 69, said the other abruptly in a matter of fact manner. Oh my god, he says like he's 69. I mean, like he's not scared of revealing his age, right? He was just maybe joking, first of all, asking Jagan, do you want to know? Then guess. But anyway, he says his age. I'm 69, said the other abruptly means suddenly, in a matter of fact manner, as a matter of fact means as a figure, right here. I'm prepared to die peacefully on my 70th birthday. Uh, if I can finish that image and install it on the pedestal. I mean, like I'm 69 years old. I have no problem dying on the next year, right? I mean, like he's 69, he's ready to die in when he's reaching the age of 70 peacefully. If I finish this task right now in front of me, which is mean the goddess, right? The sculpture, right? Will you be able to complete it in a year? Jagan asked, right? Are you sure you have, I mean, like you can make it, you can complete the task within 1 year? Jagan asked, kind of surprise, right? I may or I may not, said the other. Maybe I will finish it, maybe I am not, right? How can I say? It's in God's hands. My entire kismet, entire, I mean, like a person's destiny or his fate is on the God's hand, right? So how can I make a comment on that? Asked the bearded man. All with that, with all that water seasoning, the slab may suddenly split in the middle. And then what does one do? I mean, like with all this water seasoning and everything, maybe if I'm going to start making the statue right now with this piece of block, when I start sculpting, what happens if it suddenly breaks in the middle? This slab cracks in the middle. Then what can I do? So many things, right, can go wrong. That's what you have to understand. Several possibilities occurred to Jagan while he was fumbling for an answer. I like Jagan was thinking about this as well, right? What to do, right? Several possibilities, several answers came to Jagan, said as well. But anyway, right? While he was fumbling for an answer, while he was fumbling means he was groping, he was struggling for an answer, quite uncomfortably perambulating or uncomfortably walking for an answer, right? Fumbling. The others declared, the other person, the bearded man said, bury the broken image and start anew with a fresh quarrying and fresh seasoning in water. That's all. Uh, I mean, like, he says, what? Okay, now if the image splits after all this water seasoning when you start to make a statue, so what can we do? Bury the broken image, like bury it in the ground, right? Forget it. Start new. We start making a new statue. A fresh quarry, freshly go to the quarry, just break a piece of new slab, right? And start water seasoning it, and we can start making the statue again, right? So, in other words, starting from the beginning. If that breaks, the other person ask this question, right? Uh, That's be an that be an inauspicious thought and question, said the other grimly and added, the second stone does not generally crack. They sat in silence, which the other broke. Then 10 hands, right? Uh, oh, the very picture thrills me. He burst into a song in Sanskrit. Uh, and this is a Sanskrit song, right? It says like it's in italics. I'll give a try on this, right? It says Muktavi Druma Hema, right? Kind of it's like a Muktavi Druma Hema, right? So it's horrible pronunciation from my part, right? I know my Sanskrit is horrible, right? So burden with me if I just like blatantly made a mistake there. So anyway, right? So he was singing this song. When he had completed the stanza, he asked, "Do you understand the meaning of that?" So what's going on here? This passage says, right? This paragraph says, "There's been an inauspicious thoughts and question." I mean, like, don't think like that. It's a bad thought. What's a bad thought when you're just making a new stone? When one cracks, you are taking another stone and water seasoning, and don't think that the second one will crack. That's a bad thought, right? Get rid of those thoughts, says this bearded man, right? Said the other grimly and added, and the other said means the bearded man said this thing to Jagan, and he grimly means in a kind of a dark way. He's not happy with this kind of words, right? Second stone does not generally crack. I mean, like the second time, if a first stone cracks, if you are just kind of water seasoning and doing the preparation for a second stone, it doesn't crack normally, right? They sat in silence. Now Jagan and the bearded man sat in silence, which the other broke 10 hands. Oh, The very picture thrills me. I mean, like, see, this God had 10 has like 10 hands. The very picture thrills me means the very aspect. I mean, it's something important to this person, right? He is fascinated by these things. I mean, certain people have certain passions, right? If you are a guitarist or if you are playing a piano, right, you are very concerned about its keys, its tuning, and its because that's your passion. If you are a guitarist, you are very concerned about your strings, right? Are they in tune? Are they in the proper length? Are they in the proper gauge? Right? Is the guitar is in tune? I mean, like if you have to do some, I mean, like oiling and just servicing the guitar, things like that, right? So you have to concern. That's your hobby. Same way in this person, like the bearded man is very concerned and very enthralled by this his hobby, his passion in life because of the sculpture, and he's very impressed by it's right. 10 hands. I mean, like its arms, the limbs of this goddess, right? Uh, and the very picture thrills me, the very aspect of it, the very usage of it, the very image of it, just like fascinates me, thrills me. He burst into a song in Han Sanskrit and he started singing, right? This man has a habit of singing, right? First time he sang, can you remember, right? All the birds just fluttered away from the trees and frogs just jumped into the void. Now, second time he's going to start a song, right? And this word, right, in Sanskrit, this song in Sanskrit, and I'm not going to sing it, right? My Sanskrit is horrible, right? And you got to continue with that, right? When he had completed the stanza, he asked, do you understand the meaning of that? Once he finished this, right? Do you understand the meaning of this Sanskrit song, the Sanskrit lines, right? Yes, in a way, replied Jagan cautiously. Yeah, yeah, I understand it in some way, said Jagan very carefully, right? Uh, it only means the goddess whose countenance has the radiance of Mukta, the pearl, there you go, and Hema, that is gold, right? So now you know Hema, right? The meaning is Hema is gold, Mukta means the pearl, the pearl, that kind of bead, right? Expensive bead that engenders in the belly of a sea, that sea oysters, right? Uh, Anyway, the idea here is the only means of goddess whose countenance has the radiance of mukta means countenance means write down if you don't know. It's a face, it's aspect, visage, right? The countenance has a radiance, a kind of a emanating. A radiance means the ray of aura of kind of a light radiance that sometimes goddesses, even Buddha had a radiance. He's this kind of a uh, how can I say it, right? In Sinhala, what would it be? Radiance means ආලෝකය වගේ දෙයක්. ආලෝකය කියන්නේ රැස් විහිදෙනවා වගේ something like that, right? So the idea is the face has a radiance of mukta, like a pearl. The face glitters, glimmers, right? And hema, that as if gold, it still radiates, right? Emanates, just send out kind of a light, right? Uh, and then the blue and sapphire, or the sky. A sapphire means azure, right? You know that kind of a shade of blue. We find it in the poem Eagle, the azure Z, right? I can remember, like the kind of blue, kind of a light shade of a blue is right. So it's actually gemstone. Anyway, it's a gem. So all these important, valuable, extremely worthy things are associated with the god's radiance, right? For the sky and the redness of the coral. He took a deep breath, paused, and continued. Since she is the light that illumines the sun himself, she combines in her all colors and every kind of radiance, symbolized by five heads of different colors. Yeah, now should be Gayatri, right? From the previous introduction, it was this five-headed goddess called Gayatri and all her radiance, right? She's a female goddess, right? And what else, right? This is the significance of Gayatri. Since she is the light that illumines the sun himself. I mean, the sun gets the light from Gayatri, as if she's the goddess, right? She's the divine figure that even inspired the sun, right? Something like that. And she combines in all colors and every kind of radiance symbolized by five heads of different colors. So these five heads stand for five different things, right? Uh, she possesses 10 hands, each holding a conch. What's a conch in Sinhala? You call it Haggedia, right? Conch, write down if you don't know, right? I don't know any other word just to explain that thing, right? Conch. And which is the origin of a sound, you can just, blow the conch. If it's the original one, if it's good, if it's not damaged, right? It'll give a kind of a noise, kind of whistling noise in itself, right? So, which is the origin of sound? A disc. Now, these are the objects Gayatri have in her arms, right? Uh, Conch discs, which gives the universe its motion, right? A discus, kind of a object, right? Give the universe its motion. A goad to suppress evil forces. Goad means what? A stick here. Goad means a stick, just like a cane, right? Something just to punish, right? In other words, the idea is to suppress evil forces, just to keep the evil away. When evil is there, she may be hitting the evil of it, right? And I don't know, right? And suppress evil forces. A rope that causes bonds, and she has a rope in her hand, right? That rope is signifying the bonds, the connections. Lotus flower for beauty and symmetry. There, she has in another arm. She has 10 arms, right? I mean, like a lotus flower, right? That symbolizes beauty and symmetry, equality between both sides, right? And the kapalam, right? Uh, I mean, like a begging bowl made of bleached human skull. I mean, like imagine a person's skull head is taken, right? The skull is taken and dried out all the skin. Bleached means now you see the skull, right? When all the skin and everything is away in a dead person's head, then you cut it and just can make a bowl out of it, right? I mean, like the dome part, the dome, the circle part, the spherical part can be taken into your palm and use this skull as a begging bowl that we call this carpalam, right? Carpalam is something like that. In other words, it's kind of scary stuff, right? A person's head as a begging bowl. Who thought of it, right? Such a use value can be attributed to a skull, right? Think about it. And I mean, like a begging bowl made of a bleached human skull means very clean human skull, right? She combines in a divinity everything we perceive and feel, from the bare, dry bone to all beauty in creation. I mean, like in goddess, like these things signify lot, right? From, I mean, like, what are the things? He says, like, we understand and feel from the bare, dry bone. I mean, like, very simple, bare and dry bone things. In other words, what's the meaning here would be like, uh, she represents mundane, day to day, kind of useless things that we don't pay any attention, right? To all beauty in creation, I mean, all beautiful, all significant, all fascinating things in the universe. She kind of a balance, or she kind of a stands for both aspects, kind of a symmetry between the mundane, dry bone things and the sublime things, right? There's this kind of equilibrium she represents in God, right? Certain gods have certain attributes, right? Ganesh stands for education and intelligence, then Skanda for something else, Vishnu for something else, and Lakshmi for money, and this Gayatri for this kind of significance. I mean, like, there are, I don't know, like, they say maybe like three cores of gods and goddesses in Hinduism, right? Hindu mythology has so many multiple goddesses, right? As much as like, I mean, like it's enormous. The same way Greek mythology has to do with a lot of gods and goddesses and mythical figures as well, right? These are certain religions, these are certain thought systems, right? Anyway, let's keep that aside now. Jagan was filled with awe and reverence at the picture. I mean, like at this moment, right? For all this time, this was not impressive for Jagan. Jagan just saw this as this a piece of stone, right? But now he felt with awe and reverence, kind of a respect, and kind of a awe, a kind of a overwhelming feeling, right? Awesome. He felt a little bit, right? Something like that. The bearded man sat brooding for a while, then said, "My master always meditated on this form and wanted to create the image for others to contemplate." I mean, right, the bearded man says, "My master always meditated on this form and wanted to create image for others to contemplate." I mean, like my master says, bearded man, Chennadore speaks about his master, right, Periyadore, had this talent of making a statue and let the other people like contemplate, think on it, right? It's a kind of a samadhi, right? In other words, right? Image for others to contemplate. Contemplate means think, meditate, kind of just get into a samadhi, right? That's the idea, a kind of a focus. That was his aim. And if I can carry it out, I'll abandon all other work in life. I mean, like, okay, anyone can make a sculpture, right? You can make a sculpture from stone. I can make a sculpture. But can we make a sculpture perfect to the extent, perfect to the extent, or perfect to the, I would say, uh, that limit when another person sees our statue, right? They fall into samadhi, they fall into contemplation, as if in our samadhi buddha, I mean, like our samadhi statue, right? It's made totally made of stone. But why we love this statue is when we go to visit this statue for some reason, right? Even it's stone, it's totally made out of stone, right? We feel like we are contemplating. I mean, like something in the statue make us feel calm, make us feel nonchalant, make us feel pacified. Even we are troubled with problems or certain worldly thoughts, and we have all this rubbish in our head, and we go in front of this samadhi statue and just give a glance at it. Something in the statue radiates, and suddenly we fall in a kind of a bewitching kind of a spell, as if the statue has made it, right? That's the quality of a good sculpture. That's the divine quality of a sculpture. And not every sculpture can, achieve that. Not every artist can achieve that. So bearded man says, like, if I can achieve that quality as a sculptor, and if I can make a statue that other people can contemplate, other people can just, um, concentrate, meditate, I mean, like, oh my God, right? I'll abandon all other work in life. I mean, I'll stop all these air dying things and, just living in these Kabir streets, right? Everything I'll give up. That's all I want to do in my life. I'll be a perfectly happy man, blissful man, right? He came down to business. And now, bearded man reveals something very important. Now, this is a turning point in this chapter 8, right? I mean, like all this time, we don't know what is the motive of bearded man. Why bearded man followed Jagan? Why did bearded man want to show this place to Jagan? Why did bearded man kind of incited a desire inside Jagan just to visit this place? And these are all questions for us. Like why? Why is this bearded man suddenly introduced in chapter 8? I mean, like, what's his purpose? We talk these things at the end of the chapter, but still now something is going to be clear. The bearded man announced the purpose why he invited Jagan to see this place. Now he immediately introduces, right? It's only a man like you can help me in this task, says the bearded man to Jagan. I mean, like, you are the only person that can help me just to build these divine statues. That, I mean, like, if just to give a try or just to kind of sponsorship, right? He's asking from Jagan. Jagan gave us start on hearing this. he had not thought that the task would concern him. I mean, like, Jagan never thought, right? I mean, like a bearded man would invite him into this kind of a thing, this kind of idea, right? And then when bearded man said, like, it's only a man like you that can help me in this task, that surprised Jagan, and Jagan want to know, like, how can I help you in this kind of a thing, right? I don't have talent for sculpting. Like, what are you talking about, right? How can I help you? Like, he was very curious. He was very inquisitive to answer. I mean, like, find the what how can he contribute to this thing, right? How he asked anxiously, and before the other could collect his thoughts, added, don't think too much of me. No, after all, I'm a humble merchant. I mean, like, immediately Jagan asked, like, how, and he said, like, oh, now don't think too much of me, right? Don't take me into the picture, and don't take me for granted. Like, don't uh, give too much to me. Too much of me means don't anticipate, don't uh, ask from me a lot. After all, no, after all, I'm a humble merchant. I'm just a simple businessman. I'm not a very rich man. I'm not a merchants, are very wealthy business people, right? We call these tycoons sometimes. Tycoons are like kind of a really wealthy people, right? They are filthy rich. But here he says, like, I'm humble. I'm just a merchant, right? I'm just a businessman, right? That's it. The other said, why don't you buy this garden and install the goddess? The bearded man suggests Jagan now his ambition, right? Why don't you buy this garden? Why don't you buy this kind of this plot where my master lived, right? Which belongs to a jungle now, right now. And help me install means help me make this the statue of goddess, and I can build this goddess, right? Uh, I I I do not know, says Jagan, right? I mean, like, you see the hesitation, right? You see the tentative tone. I'm like, not sure, this tone, right? Unsure kind of a reply. I, I do not know, replied Jagan, thickening his armor of self defense. I mean, like, he's getting ready just to protect himself, right? As a crustacean, right? Uh, arm of self-defense, and try to laugh the question off. I mean, just to laugh off means just to kind of dismiss it and reject it in a good way, and try to laugh the question off. But the other became deadly earnest. But the other person, the bearded man, is deadly earnest. Sincere, it means very serious. In Sinhala, we call it abhyaj, right? Actually, he's really serious about his this idea of Jagan buying this land and helping him to just, restore a statue. He's serious about it for Jagan, right? It's a little bit too much, right? Deadly Ernest half rose and waving a finger close to Jagan's eyes said, uh, he rose and just, addressed Jagan in front of his face, Jagan's eyes. Very well, I understand. I only thought it would do you good to have a retreat like this, said the other man, right? Said the bearded man, okay, I understand, right? I understand that you can't contribute to this thing, but it's okay. I thought it's still interesting that, it's good to have a retreat like this. It's good for you as a person to have a retreat means uh, going back to a place, like if you are tired, if you are very exhausted in life, because of your studies maybe, or because of your parents can be exhausted because of their mundane jobs like Jagan. When you want to retreat, you go on a picnic, right? You go on a trip just to refresh your mind, right? That's the kind of the idea retreat means, right? So he says, like, okay, I thought this is a good retreat to you, right? That's what I thought. Yes, God knows I need a retreat. You know, my friend, at some stage in one's life, one must uproot oneself from the custom surroundings and disappear so that others may continue in peace. As Jagan, right? Of course. Shall we underline it? Not underline, we'll highlight it, right? We'll highlight at some stage in one's life till others may continue in peace. Those are very important lines, right? Just like, okay, you can see it, I guess, right? See, so I have highlighted it. So you have to do it in the same way. The idea here is we'll try to dig what is here, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, God knows, right? God knows I want a refreshment. I want a retreat. I want to go back to the past somewhere, right? And start anew. You know, my friend, Jagan addressed the bearded man. At some stage in one's life, at some stages, at some steps, at some junctures in a person's life, one must uproot oneself from the custom surroundings. I mean, like one has to take off himself. Uproot means, you uproot plants, kind of extricate, kind of pull off from the ground, take it off, right? Uh, one must uproot oneself from their custom surroundings and disappear so that others continue in peace. Once in a while, right? Is a good in a person's state just to disappear or just to take himself out of the surroundings and go somewhere. In other words, that's a part of Hinduism, Hindu belief as well, right? Uh, I mean, like if I am to tell you something, stories, right? In most of your Jataka stories, right? In your stories, you have heard this thing. Some people, right? In this Brahman India, right? Especially these Brahmans, right? These high caste people, has this belief system, right? There are some stages into life: the childish age, then the young age, the young adult age, and the old age, right? I mean, like when young person should learn, when it comes to the other age, juvenile age, right? They should be rich and they should marry, right? And the adult age, they should all enjoy this wealth and the marriage life, and I mean like the mundane world, right? The world, the pleasures of the world. It's like you have to be rich, and you have to enjoy things, and you have to enjoy your family life, sexuality, things like that. But when you come to the old age, right? There's a belief that you have to leave everything aside to the others, like the children, whoever, right? And just go away, walk away from this life, and the end part you have to spend in a forest or somewhere. Just to gain your contemplation, gain your kind of uh, internal spiritual growth, right? That we can see in many Jataka stories, right? Many kings even just go away from the worldly life into a jungle just to contemplate, start their bhavanas or meditations, right? Those things comes from Hindu beliefs, right? So that's what the idea may be here, right? So he says, like, of course, I one has to accustom surroundings from their customs means their usual day to day, their regular surroundings. They have to leave to somewhere disappear so that others can carry on with their lives, right, easily. uh, it would be the most accredited procedure according to our scriptures. There you go, there you go, right? It would be the most accredited means the most uh, proposed, or most kind of accredited means assured, most respected procedure, the way of life. Procedure means a system. Accredited system means a kind of a most assured kind of a system, a respected system in our scriptures and in our teaching. So in a latter part of one's life, you have to leave your the custom surroundings and go away, walk away, simply walk away, right? That fulfills the life circle for them, right? That's what the scripture says, right? Husband and wife must vanish into the forest at some stage in their lives, leaving the affairs of the world to the younger people. There you go, right? තියෙනවනේ ජාතක කතාවල එහෙම අහලා ඇතිනේ. රජ්ජුරුවෝ ඔක්කොම සැප සම්පත් අත්හැරලා දාලා ගිහිල්ලා වනගත වෙනවා කියලා. ඇයි ඒ වනගත වෙන්නේ? ඒක ඒ කාලේ තිබිච්ච belief system එකක්, right? Now today our people in power do the same thing. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ බලේ ඉන්න කට්ටිය අද මේ බලේ සල්ලි එහෙම හම්බ කරන්නේ නිකන් පිස්සු වගේ නේ හඹා යන්නේ. එයාලා ජීවිතය අන්තිම කාලේ වනගත වෙනවා. නෑ මැරිලා හරි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට එන්න දඟලන්නේ right in our cases right මේ අඩිය තියන්න බෑ අඩි වෙවුලනවා right ඒ හැරමිටි ගහගෙන දන්න ගාගෙන රෝද පුඩුවෙන් හරි බලයට එන්න සැප සම්පත් විඳින තමයි තෘෂ්ණාව right I mean like that's today. But according to Indian scripture, right, according to this Hindu scriptures, right, the idea was that even when a person comes to the old age, කෙන වයසට ගියාම බණක් භාවනාවක් කරගෙන නේ පිනක් දහමක් කරගෙන ඉන්න ඕන කියන අදහස මේ සමාජයට එන්නේ කොහෙන්ද? From here. This is a Hindu kind of set of beliefs, right? I mean, like even in Buddhism has incorporated many of Hindu belief systems. For example, like mal pahan pattu කරන ඒවා ඔක්කොම පහන් පත්තු කරන එක Hindu චාරිත්‍රයක්. right? බුදුහාමුදුරන්ට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඒක තිබිච්ච එතන established Hindu චාරිත්‍රයක්. බුදුහාමුදුර එක ගත්ත ධර්මය තුළට අරගෙන he gave a kind of a different reading for it, right? mal pahan පූජා කරන ඒවා ඒත් එහෙමයි, right? So I mean, like Hinduism is old. It's kind of established thought system. It has these depths, right? Even it worship gods, right? Here we find in Gayatri, right? There are so many other significance as well, right? This is a way that people viewed the world, people understood the world, right? Many million people has been, following this religion, so it has its importance as well. So keeping those all aside, I'm just deviating a little bit just to give you some idea about these things, right? And yeah, so Jagan says, right, leaving the affairs for the younger people is must vanished for the forest at some age of the life. So in other words, Jagan says, okay, I like the idea of retreat. Of course, I am a person who need a retreat after all, right? And thank you for that, in other words, right? But still buying this land is a little bit too much. It's a little exotic for Jagan. Jagan felt so heartily in agreement that he wanted to explain why he needed an escape. Now this is very important, the last paragraph. We will just draw some parallels, right? Parallel lines in the both sides. We draw from pencil because this give you the gist or the most salient points or the most focal points in chapter 8. Jagan felt so heartily in agreement with that he wanted to explain why he needed an escape. His wife's death, his son's growth, and strange development, how his ancient home behind the lowly statue was beginning to resemble hell on earth. But he held his tongue. He felt shy and reserved about talking of his son, like one not wishing to exhibit his source. Yeah. So the idea here is like Jagan didn't tell any of his personal problems to the bearded man, right? We know that. Jagan very rarely speaks about his problems to anyone other than petty things. Petty things he can speak with Kasim. That's the only friend we know so far he have. Other than that, we don't find he have any friendship, right, with any other person that he can just speak these very personal things. He keeps them to himself, right? In this case, he doesn't even say these things to the white-bearded man. And Jagan felt so heartily in agreement with what he wanted to explain why he needed an escape. And Jagan felt he can explain this bearded man, right, why he wanted to come here in the first place. Right, his wife's death. Since his wife's death, he's been a lonesome man, a lonely man, isolated man, a man without a companionship, right? No one wants to listen to him other than, right, in Malgudi it seems, right? His son's growth and strange development now. His son's plans, right? He's grown up man now. How ancient the home now, how his old home, his happy home in old days has become a hell where he even disliked to go nowadays because there are two people they are waiting for a kind of response from him, chasing him, asking money, right? Always pressurizing him. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to go there as well. And isn't to be added these shop issues, right? It's not mentioned here, but still shop issues are also a problem, right? Nowadays, strange developments, how his ancient home became the lowly statue beginning was to resemble hell on earth. But he held his tongue means he kept quiet. He didn't open his mouth to talk about these things. He felt shy and reserved about talking his son. I mean, like, for Jagan is very upset just to speak about his son, the problems of his son, because after all, he was, I mean, like in Jagan's life, as if Mal is the only significance, right? Mal is the only child. Mali is the only one he's really worried about in this world, right? He's the apple in his eye, in other words. Mali is the most important person in Jagan's life, but for some reason, but now Jagan is very depressed about Mali, right? And for not wishing to exhibit one's source means that Jagan don't like to speak about Mali as much as a person doesn't want to show their sores, means show their wounds. I mean, like when you have wounds in your legs or when you have wounds in your body, you don't want to show them to other people, right? You want to hide them because they are disgusting, they are not appealing, right? They are not interesting. There's nothing great or nothing noble about having sores or having wounds. So you cover them up, right? Same way, these kind of things are very painful for Jagan, and Jagan is covering them up, right? He don't want to talk about these things. So that's the end of chapter 8. So what's the significance of chapter 8? I mean, like, you may think like it's little odd how Jagan went to a place like this, tranquil place, right, where that belonged to Periyadore, a kind of a land, right, where sculptures are made and kind of still a very beautiful scenery. It's a very beautiful scenery and a magnificent scenery, very calm, placid, and a natural background. But anyway, right, okay, if you're really thinking about these things, just try to make an analogy, right? Even in our society, right? Have you ever thought there are these kind of retreats? I mean, like, අපේ සමාජයේ තියෙනනේ භාවනා මධ්‍යස්ථාන කියලා જાතියක්, right? භාවනා මධ්‍යස්ථාන වලට යන්නේ කවුද? Yanne, just sometimes very rich people goes there, right? In their vehicles, in their kind of luxury vehicles, right? They reserve a date and they go and do this bhavana meditations and things like this. Why? In our way, in our society, in our capitalist society, where people run behind money in a rat race, even we need, even our people once in a while feels like, oh my God, this life doesn't work. This life sucks. This life is very exhaustive. This life is very, very painful, right? In that case, what they do is like they just go to these bhavana madhyasthanas and certain places just to relax, just to go for a retreat, right? So it happens even today, right now, in our society, right? Every society has its means of relaxation, right? That's what religions do mostly. So in this case, like instead of a bhavana madhyasthana, right? Think Jagan suddenly got an access to something like that. Jagan very badly needed it, right? Jagan very badly needed it. මේක ඒ context එක ඇතුලේ නිකන් භාවනා මධ්‍යස්ථානයක් වගේ. Jaganට the same feel, the same uh, idea here is introduced in a different way. This forest, this place stands something like that. So Jagan was attracted to it immediately because Jagan was suffering with so many mental problems, right? He was suffering with this Mali's issues, Grace's issues, and these shop issues and things like that. It's no wonder, it's not surprising Jagan was attracted to this as if a moth is attracted to a light, right? අර ඉටි පන්දමට ඇදිලා එන මෙරුව වගේ ටක් ගාලා ජේගන් මේ වගේ තැනකට ඇදිලා යන එක, it's not a surprise if you think about it, right? In other words, R.K. Narayan is issuing, I mean, like showing that idea to you. You have to be smart to just grasp it. Maybe it appear boring to you, the chapter 8, compared to other chapters, but still there's a significance there, right? There's something important there. This is a kind of a turning point in the novel. Still, the novel is just kind of in a turning point, right? This is on the rising action. It's on the rising action, right? And I think you got the significance of chapter 8, and so basically that's the end of chapter 8.